Hi, good evening, and welcome to Eco Chat with Kat. It's back. We took a little break, but we are back with a vengeance and a cat that's perfectly timed. And back with our sustainability bestie, Haley,
Woohoo!
who's of course a favorite returning guest for the Eco Chats. So tonight we did one. I think it was actually like a year and a half ago, maybe, about shopping. That was for the kind of ahead of the holiday season. And so we touched
Yeah.
on some of this, but at the time we said we should do a whole episode just on clothing and fast fashion. And so now we're finally making that happen a year
Yay.
and a half later. Um, so, and again, if you're new to Eco Chats are just sort of informal conversations to try to make some small steps towards sustainability, or living a little more gently. Because when I reflect on my own journey over the years, it was not just like one day I changed everything about my life to be more sustainable and
Oh
started living
gosh.
in a van and uh, you know, going off the grid or something. It's been more like just conversations with friends over the years that kind of like hearing what they did, what worked, being inspired by something someone else has done, and maybe finding out something new that I didn't know about from them, modeling that. So that's
Yeah,
kind of the
people.
idea behind Eco Chat. So it's just like a casual chat about like, how does this really look like in the real world? And what can we do?
Yeah,
It
I've definitely.
works for us.
I took away something from our last Eco Chat. We did one about, I think, recycling just generally a while back. And like one of the things I love about the Eco Chats and about like just talking about other sustainability things is how creative people are. You had mentioned that you and John save like little sandwich baggies or like chip baggies and things like that to use for the cat litter boxes instead of buying like separate plastic bags that then get thrown away and never go anywhere. And it was such a simple solution and such a no brainer. But for whatever reason, like my brain just hadn't gone to that kind of creative place before. And so now I'm saving all of my dried apricot pouches and and stuff like that. And I'm able to donate the rest of the, specialty plastic bags that I had bought to the animal shelter. So everybody gets to benefit. And I feel so clever. I think of you every time when I'm saving all these bags.
Yeah, we fight about that a little bit. I don't know that it's a John and my decision to do that, but like, because some of them are pretty small. But there's always like on trash night, he always wants to like take everything out for trash night. So even if I had just started a new bag for the cat litter, he will like
He's
empty
ready
it
to.
and take the whole thing out. That's just like maybe a tiny bit of litter in a big bag.
Mm-hmm.
It always just, hurts my soul.
Yeah.
So like if I know, or like if like this weekend we were gone, so the cat
Mm-hmm.
sitter came, like if I know there's only going to be just a 1 or 2 days worth of litter before it's going to go out, like I'll use the smaller,
Mm-hmm.
like the dried apricot bag or whatever.
Yeah,
That's maybe a little bit smaller. Unless it's from Costco, which I do love their dried apricots.
yeah.
I'm obsessed with them. Is a bigger bag, but
I mean, you do have multiple cats, so that seems fair.
true. Okay, so tonight we're just going to do a deep dive on just clothing. It sounds like fast fashion has sort of like in my kind of researching. And again, this is like, I like these Eco Chats because there's a lot of things that I've always wondered about or even made assumptions about that may or may not be true. And then I get to find out the answer finally.
Yeah, you're so great with the research. I love hearing what you come up with.
So it seems like maybe fast fashion kind of is kind of a scapegoat for like larger issues that we have with like businesses, corporations, companies generally. So we'll touch on that a little bit, but really we're like eco chats are about like individual choices that we can all make with sustainability in mind, with the idea that more people making small choices, you know, throughout their day or in their lives would add up to a bigger difference.
Yeah, and that they can be easy and like tiny little changes or moments of mindfulness. I'm kind of a lazy girl, so I don't want to have to, change my whole lifestyle or do something really complicated. So I'm excited to hear what you found out.
So we will touch a little bit about, you know, the whole like, oh, well, retailers need to da da da. Well, like, but today we're going to talk about like more about like what can we do? What are sort of like the impulses for consumption like are just interesting to me. Like I
Yeah.
found things like um that during like a recession or like downturns or hard times or crises, like people don't stop buying clothes.
Mm,
Instead, they turn more towards like cheap clothes,
yes. Yeah.
and things that they can still get, I guess, like the hit, like the good feel, the
A little
feel,
dopamine rush. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But can justify it because it's so cheap. Uh,
Yes.
and so like during COVID, for example, I found that like major retailers like J. Crew or Neiman Marcus like filed for bankruptcy, but
J. Crew did? Wow. I
you
totally missed
had
that.
you know, like, okay, how do you pronounce it? Sheen,
Yeah, Sheen. I don't know.
stuff like that, like super cheap fast fashion places actually like did better. And so people were like continued to
Interesting.
buy clothing even though they were leaving their houses and didn't have anywhere to wear them.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I, you know, I don't buy new clothes. But I do like love thrifting, and I do constantly observe that I have more clothes than I could ever possibly wear. Um,
It's so
and so,
easy to fall into that trap. Again, because the thrift stores are usually pretty cheap.
yes, and I typically can like, you know, one in, one out pretty easily, like easy come, easy go. Like I can.
That's good.
I also like free cycle, so I like finding
Yeah.
a home for stuff I'm not gonna. So like, but I'm still, that still speaks to like some kind of like modern day issue that we have about like abundance or scarcity or something,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
anyway. So to start out, the average American now generates 82 pounds of textile waste each year.
Wow.
And the whole thing with fast fashion, so the definition for fast fashion is that basically it's like a model where there's a quick turnaround.
Mm-hmm.
So like used to be that it took like a year to go from the runway to the mainstream, but now the cycle is so compressed that it takes just a few weeks or even less
Yeah.
to go from the design to like having it out. Um, and so Americans buy a piece of clothing every 5 days on average
Wow.
and are paying so little that then I think they do feel like they're disposable because
Yeah.
you paid so little for them. Like it's like a $10 bathing suit or whatever, which
Yeah. I
how
mean,
is that possible?
I've literally overheard conversations like that. Like, oh, ha, 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 it'll fall apart, if I wash it twice, but it was only $10.
Yes, totally.
Oh, oh,
Uh,
it hurts me.
and when I saw this article and the comments were like, who does this? I don't know anybody who like they were not believing that this was true. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is true
Oh,
because like
yeah, absolutely.
I think like podcasters that I've heard of, like
Mm-hmm.
um my sister, like I think they really are like buying an item of clothing, maybe not clothing, maybe something else,
Mm-hmm.
like at least like every day, like one thing a day.
Wow.
Um And it has a lot to do with social media.
Oh, for sure.
Ooh. But like my sister, for example, once or twice a year, she'll clean out her closet
Yeah.
and fill up an entire her jacuzzi tub, like a
Wow.
massive. It was like once or twice a year this happens.
Yeah.
Like for the last 25 years, like
Yeah.
she'll say, she'll say like, hey, when are you coming down next? Because I have a whole bunch of stuff that I cleaned out.
Wowzers.
And now her two daughters are very similar to her in terms of lifestyle. So now they have their whole mountains of stuff that they're getting rid of as
That's been
well.
normalized for them. Yeah.
And you sort of have to like do the math in terms of like, wow, how often I think they're buying things, but also like their mother-in-law is buying things for them as well. So that's part of it too. But like just thinking about like, I believe these stats. I do.
Yeah, I do too. And it's so easy to fall into a trap like that. Like I feel like I see patterns like that, especially among moms of families who like don't have very many opportunities to do something nice for themselves. In terms of like, I'm gonna, take a nice bubble bath, or like in terms of like spending time with themselves or just relaxing. And so I feel like the impulsive shopping is kind of one way to still get that little treat, if you will, but without having to spend time, since that seems like such a scarce resource. I've heard a couple women talk about, not as like, they didn't get behind the psychology of it, but like in the context of conversations, that's what it had seemed like to me. And then two, I feel like I kind of am less swayed by this. I have like a little bit of a leg up because I've never been cool. And so like I remember the last time that your sister cleaned out her closet, and you said, she describes herself as trendy. And like I've never been cool enough to describe myself as trendy, but I can absolutely see and understand why, like, if you have kind of always been like really social and had that spirit of like coolness and like wanting to be
Fit in.
the fit in, or to even be the friend who like, I'm the trendsetter of my friend group, if that's kind of been part of your identity in a way, I can totally see how, now that Amazon Prime and Shein like ship so quickly and so cheaply, like no judgment to anyone who has fallen into some of these patterns, because that just sounds so easy, and dopamine is so yummy, like there's all sorts of things everyone does.
Yeah, totally. I went to my niece's graduation party last year, and I just like kind of looked up because I was helping with the food, and every single woman there was wearing a version of the same outfit. Like it was ruffles. I guess ruffles were like a thing. And I was just like, like clearly these people are all getting a memo.
Yes.
That I did not get. I did not get it.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but I know that's like a source of frustration from my sister, that like I don't fit in. And that I don't like that I'm not wearing the ruffles, like I think is a bit of like so yeah, I do think that's
yeah. People who are kind of like keenly aware of that social communication of like, I'm trendy, I'm engaged in social media or whatnot. Yeah.
So just a bit of this is also kind of changed, I think, with this sort of online shopping thing. So and some of these stats are actually kind of like pre-COVID, like 2019. And I'm kind of curious to see like, some of them are newer, but like these things have actually kind of gotten a little bit more extreme than even some of these. But for every 5 new garments produced each year, 3 garments are disposed of. And the volume of clothes Americans throw away has doubled over the past 20 years.
Wow.
So, and we'll kind of talk about that impact as well. So it kind of like, also, I think with social media, I saw some stuff that, to your point too, like the more that people are sort of documenting their lives for public consumption or how are being perceived,
Right.
the more important it is, especially for like young women,
Right.
to like not repeat an outfit. Like I've
Mhm.
heard that like my niece was in her freshman year of college this year, and so I follow her. That's like the reason I got on Instagram this year, is to follow my nieces,
Mhm.
see what's going on with them, and I literally never see the same outfit. Like it's very much about like having the new outfit or whatever. It's really
Mhm.
interesting.
Mhm.
And this is a 2017 poll. 40% of women ages 18 to 25 felt pressure to wear a different outfit every time they went out. And that's like got to be way higher now, don't you think?
I
From
I
2017?
do like, and especially with, we've talked before about how like slang changes so quickly now because of like TikTok and stuff. Like trends of all sorts just go like blaze through so much faster. And just like you're saying, like there's so much more visible too when everyone is has some kind of social media presence of one flavor or another, that yeah, for sure that number's got to be higher now.
Yeah, and unboxing videos are a thing.
Oh, yes. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Haul videos. Like I saw that with my nieces at Christmas last year.
Yeah.
Where it's about like how many clothes or stuff did you get, and then like going
Right.
through each of it like on your video on your live.
Yeah. Truly quantity over quality. Yeah.
Yes. So when you break down kind of what is and again, we're not going to talk about the social impacts of sort of this like fashion issue,
Mhm.
or sort of clothing obsession. Um, we're not going to talk about that today. This is just about the environmental impacts today. So it sounds like when it comes to the environmental impacts, you're looking at water, microplastics, and emissions.
Yeah.
So those are kind of the three. Everything's kind of like clumped into those three things. Um,
And just the sheer like landfill volume that it
the
contributes
volume,
to. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
So the fashion industry is actually contributes more emissions than the international flights and maritime industry combined,
Really?
which I was shocked about.
Yeah, me too.
Uh, so, so kind of let's start with like, so, and then this is also part of like the process, how like the getting down to the little tiny details. It's the dyeing and the finishing, preparing the yarn, and then the fiber production is and then you get into so that's like the production, and then you
Uh-huh.
get into like I didn't really see even really a whole lot about distribution,
Mm.
honestly. And then you have to go into like washing and wearing,
Right.
well, and then disposal or
Yeah.
returns as well. Returns
Mhm.
is the factor as well.
Oh, yeah.
So just starting with like the production angle, the fashion industry is the second largest consumer of water among all industries.
Wow.
So it requires 700 gallons to produce one cotton shirt
Mm.
and 2,000 gallons of water to produce a pair of jeans.
Wowzers.
And approximately 20% of global freshwater pollution is caused by the fashion industry. And a lot of that is the dyeing, since the
Mm.
water left over from the dyeing process is often dumped into ditches, streams, or rivers.
Oh, wow.
And then also because the textiles are being distributed all over the world by air and by water, then there's
Mhm.
a constant fallout of microfibers, which is often like because most things are synthetic materials,
Right.
depositing microplastics.
Mhm.
So synthetic fibers are being found in the deep sea, in Arctic sea ice, in fish and shellfish.
Oh,
And then also then like the washing of clothes then can release another 500,000 tons of microfibers into the ocean.
holy
So
moly.
the equivalent of 50 billion plastic bottles.
Wow.
So this is interesting to me because we were thrifting recently
Mhm.
and I was like, oh my God, you should get this. And you were like, I'm really looking for more natural fibers these days, like linen. And I kind of thought that you were like, that was more like a style choice or something, that you were like in your Diane Keaton phase or something. But then I read all this and I was like, oh, like Haley already knew about this. Cause I'm like, all like, I can get whatever I want at the thrift store. You know, I just
Mhm.
went through my favorite thrift store in a very small town in New Mexico because they support a domestic violence coalition. And you
Yes.
can fill up, like, I just like throw stuff in there. Like my friend just had a
This is
baby.
your like 10-cent place, right?
I'm just like throwing like a million
It
baby
sounds so
things in there,
magical. Yeah.
like trying to get the amount up. And of
Right.
course, like that'll be $13.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, this is all fine. But then like, no, even though I got them secondhand, they're all weird materials. I mean, don't even ask me
Yeah.
what they're made out of. So like even me getting those secondhand, but then like as I'm washing them, like and still like is releasing
Mhm.
microplastics and these other like possibly chemicals into the waters, our water sources. So that
I
was news to me.
Yeah. I one time we were chatting and I had told you that I had bought something called a Cora ball.
No,
Um,
they
yeah, yeah. Um, I am not convinced it has done a single thing because there's never been like a buildup of fibrous anything in the little fronds of this coral like washer ball. So that was kind of a womp womp disappointment on my part. But um, when I was mentioning that to you, I think you had said something about like after a certain number of washes, though, like it will eventually stop shedding microplastics or at least like really decrease. Um, and so, I mean, not to say that like I still buy synthetic fabrics at the thrift store sometimes because they're secondhand, like hopefully the worst of the worst has been done and, it's not necessarily um, contributing a whole lot, but so I'm not all linen and cotton yet. I'm not Diane Keaton, but I'm hoping I get there soon.
we all, I mean, is one of
Ugh.
our dreams. So microplastics in the ocean,
Mm,
fashion accounts for 20 to 35%.
mm.
And then moving into
Did it
emissions,
did it say where the rest of it came from? Just out of curiosity.
um, it did not.
Okay.
But I thought that the plastic bottles comparison was interesting because I think when we think about plastic shedding into oceans,
Hmm.
that's what we're thinking about is those like the islands of trash,
For
right?
sure. Yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
are like that are plastic containers like
Yeah.
water bottles or
That's
detergent
always what I think
containers or
of.
whatever. So maybe that's probably most of the rest.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I would never have thought that microplastics were like relatively comparable to that. Like that's mind-boggling.
yeah. So like I said, the emissions, it's about, I saw between 8 and 10% of global carbon emissions are from the fashion industry. So again, more than all international flights and maritime shipping combined.
Mm.
Um,
Well, and I wonder when something stops being in the fashion category and when something starts being in the transport category, like there's probably a pretty big domino effect there because maybe the manufacturer gets it to Amazon and it's called fashion, but then all of the tiny little packages that Amazon sends out and all the trucks that are making those deliveries, I bet that's something in a whole different
yeah,
category too.
I think it must be in a different, like in terms of when they're doing this research for statistics and stuff, it didn't seem like they were including factoring any of that in. This is just from like the production of the actual textiles.
Yeah, that's what I mean is like it's even like that domino effect is even bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. I saw an interview with a fashion influencer, who of course was like 18. And
Not
she
Diane Keaton.
right now. She was making a living off of, like a really good living off of unboxing, you know, just they would send different outfits to her or whatever. And so she had a bunch of sponsors, right? So like even the sponsors were aware of the sort of like environmental wreckage of this industry and what this girl was doing.
Yeah.
So they were still sponsoring her because she was really popular and had a huge following. But they asked if when she did the unboxing or when she tried on the outfits, if she would leave the plastic container out of the video. Or like leave the shipping materials or whatever out of the video to sort of like make it seem like it was less of an environmental impact. But like it's interesting because when you really research it, the actual production of the clothing itself is like a gigantic issue in itself, which I don't think I knew that before.
No.
So 85% of all textiles go into dumps each year. However, so some thrift shops have stopped accepting fast fashion donations.
Really?
And then so discarded clothes can get shipped overseas. And this is a whole other can of worms that I like kind of delved into. Like sort of peeked in there and then like closed that door again.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, really grim. The whole like a whole industry of like taking all of our used clothes, secondhand clothes, and then like shipping them overseas in bales.
Yeah.
And then like they can kind of like try to sell it, but only like 40% of that gets sold, or even 10% sometimes gets sold. And then they don't know what to do with it. So, but like even because a lot of the clothing is synthetic or treated with chemicals and can take 200 years to biodegrade, it's considered as toxic as like discarded tires or plastic materials. And so it doesn't qualify for a landfill. And so it goes like to like weird like parts of the world that basically like are just stuck with like literal mountains, like 3 times the size of the Brooklyn Bridge of cast off clothing from other countries. And like they like Google burning mountain of clothes in Chilean desert, or don't. Terrible. And then also a mountain of cast off clothing outside the Ghanaian capital city of Accra generated so much methane that it exploded. And months later, it was still smoldering.
Like it just the sheer off gassing or what?
Yeah, I guess so.
Holy cow.
Because they can't put it in like a landfill because it's like toxic.
Right. But then if there's that much of it just sitting somewhere, it sort of creates its own super toxic landfill.
Yeah.
Oof.
So
I've seen clips of some of those great big mountains, but I've not seen one on fire. That's terrifying.
Yeah, it's grim. So it's interesting to think about that because like it's like we just have too much. There's just too much stuff. Like this is why this is why I've always like, even I think before I really thought about the environmental impacts, like from a young age, like I just felt like there's already like a lot of stuff here in our country, in our world.
Yeah.
We don't really need to be like producing a whole bunch more. Like let's just stick with what we have and reuse that or trade or whatever. Like our world literally like can't, like even like there's just no use for it and it's toxic. So like it just piles up.
Right.
So it really isn't, and like you would like to think that you can donate it and it's going to go be used, or that you can
Mhm.
recycle it and it's going to be used, but like that's actually not the case for a lot of it.
Right.
So the answer is ultimately to consume less.
Yeah.
Is really
Um,
what it has to come down to.
someone said like refuse is the first like recycle, reduce, reuse. Was that you?
Well, we had the Faith and Climate Forum a couple of weeks ago, and that
Mhm.
was like our favorite takeaway.
Yeah.
Was instead of reduce, reuse, recycle, the new ones are refuse,
Mm-hmm.
repurpose, and repair,
Yeah.
or something like that. But
Uh-huh.
refuse is our
I like
favorite.
that.
Like that's like,
Yeah.
whoa, like that's perfect. Like you have to refuse, like just make a
Yeah.
different decision.
I have blown some of my coworkers' minds when we hire outside brokers to do certain jobs for us, like as independent contractors. And so, of course, like to generate business for themselves, most brokerage firms have a lot of swag that's really cool, to include like t-shirts. And when they have asked, like, oh, hey, what's your t-shirt size? We'd love to send you a t-shirt. I've straight up said, like, I almost cannot close my t-shirt drawer. So no, thank you. And I think that like that's such a sort of revolutionary notion to people, that like, oh, I can just like politely say no, and like that's totally fine. I don't have to, just because something's free, I don't have to participate in that or take it or something like that. And like the t-shirts that I have, I I'm proud to tell you that I am wearing a pair of shorts that are dated 2003 from my high school volleyball days. So
Hmm.
it's like I can't imagine the sheer volume of stuff, like if I had said yes to everything that had ever been offered to me, because just like you're saying, like I have plenty. I don't really need more. But
Mhm.
that's not a very American ideal, I think.
Mm-mm.
We love stuff. Stuff is really fun. Like, don't
Mhm.
get me wrong, I love stuff too.
So looking at like again, just a touching briefly on like what retailers can do, but really like there needs to be like a global overhaul
Yeah.
of really all this whole, it's very systemic, but and then also legislation, policy.
Mm,
Um, but let's face it, like they're responding to demand, you know.
right.
So
Yeah.
the less demand there is, the more they'll look at changing.
Mhm.
So like retailers like Adidas are experimenting with personalized gear to cut down on returns. And Ralph Lauren has announced that it will use 100% sustainably sourced key materials by 2025. Oh, that's an old thing. So I wonder if,
Oh, cool.
but also it does seem like transparency is a real issue, and there's a lot of
Mm.
greenwashing.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And that I saw like Quince, which is
Mhm.
you know, you hear, if you love podcasts, you know all
Oh,
about
yeah.
Quince. Some of their claims, sustainability claims, are a little dubious, or like they
Oh,
won't really divulge like where they are sourcing their stuff.
interesting.
So you kind of have to take all that with a grain of salt or do your research. But
Sure.
and then tariffs, they thought that that was going to like make fast fashion come to a halt, and it didn't really.
Mhm.
And apparently, most of the eco-friendly, sustainable brands produce overseas.
Mhm.
And linen, for example, is a plant-based material, but it's no longer really produced in the U.S., so you would have to get it from another country.
Mm.
So if companies do absorb more costs from tariffs, they may look to trim anything they're doing, like for any kind of sustainability efforts,
Sure.
like,
Yeah.
um, such as reducing carbon emissions, to try to get through that tough time
Sure.
economically. Um, So moving to returns, which is a pretty major issue. Like when we did our shopping episode, I remember the question was like, is it better to buy stuff online or at a local store?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that the issue was the quick shipping, like the 2-day shipping
Yeah.
was what really like made it very unsustainable. And then the returns were the other major factor that made online shopping a less sustainable option because you can't try it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've heard like some of my favorite podcast hosts say like, oh yeah, I just ordered like a ton of stuff, but I'm going to return like 80% of it. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I just spent a ton of money, but like, I'm going to return most of it. So like, it's not going to be that bad in the end or whatever. And it's like, there's like this magic, like you return it and it's just sort of like,
yeah,
magically like hangs itself back on the shelf or whatever.
Yeah, that there's only $1 cost to it and not a environmental cost or a time cost.
And also apparently, so most of the items we return, regardless of their condition, do not return to the website's inventory. And instead, they are often shipped to incineration plants or landfills or to other countries or end up in our oceans. And in fact, the burning desert of clothes in Chile, the article I read with like had like a woman who went to like look through the clothes or whatever as they were burning, and a lot of them still had tags on them.
Oh my gosh.
So sorting returned items is costly, it's time consuming. And so a lot of retailers just like let them pile up, or they'll send them to landfills in bulk to cut costs, which I think is also like why those bales of clothes are like shipped overseas or whatever. And I know, I think that Amazon has stopped taking returns. And I've noticed that because, as you know, I went so long without ordering anything on Amazon that they canceled my account.
I was so proud of you.
Which, fair warning, when they cancel your account, you lose access to any digital media that you may have purchased in like 2009. Just FYI.
Jeffrey, don't be doing
very, very diabolical Amazon.
Yes.
So, but I have noticed this on FreeCycle because people will frequently post something on FreeCycle that they ordered from Amazon, but Amazon said, don't bother returning it. We'll send you a new one. And so someone is FreeCycling. There was a very cute dress on FreeCycle today that was that situation. She'd ordered a certain size, but it ran small. And so she ordered the next size. They're going to send her the next size up, but she was giving away the extra one that wasn't fitting.
Yeah.
So some lucky person got that dress. So that's great. But I guess this is all sort of related to, it can be, inconsistent sizing is like a more systemic issue.
Yeah. Don't we know?
Which the whole thing, mostly for women, I was pretty sure. Although I also I get on to John about this because if he will look at something and if it's a large or medium, like he won't even like try it on or look at it. And I'm like, why don't you just try it on and just see? He's like, because I know it's not going to fit. I'm like, but they're like, it's inconsistent. Like sometimes a large is, I mean, it feels like men's is more consistent than women's. Women's is just like
all over. Oh yeah.
So if sizing were consistent, people would be less likely to return online purchases that don't fit, but getting companies to standardize is unlikely. So some expert in the industry said, for example, that brands that came out with ambitious sustainability plans during the pandemic have quietly rolled them back or just dropped them from their websites because like they try to respond to something that the consumers say that they want, but as soon as consumers aren't paying attention anymore, they just drop it.
Right.
Which I think is interesting because you also saw that like with like anti-racist stuff, or like
Yeah.
stuff that was like after 2020, a lot of companies like had like DEI policies or
Right.
whatever,
That's
and
exactly what
like
I was just thinking of. Yeah.
because people are like clamoring for it, and then suddenly like the wind changes, and then it's like boop, 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 actually no.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so all of that's very depressing. So let's move
I mean,
to
truly.
some solutions.
Okay.
So what can we do that's better? So the opposite of fast fashion is slow fashion. So that's more about like considering the process and resources required to make whatever you're purchasing,
Mhm,
buying better quality garments that will last longer,
mhm.
and that values fair treatment of people, animals, the planet. Um, and so looking for more sustainable, high quality materials like linen,
Mhm.
um, wild silk, organic cotton, hemp, and lyocell, which I'd never heard of.
I think it looks a lot like a synthetic. I didn't even know that it was natural.
Is it is bamboo? I didn't see anything about bamboo. Is bamboo a better option?
It definitely can be. There's, especially since it so regenerates so fast.
Really
There's
does.
there's a clothing company that only like that specializes in making clothing from bamboo, and it's so soft. I found a pair of their leggings at the thrift store one time. They're one of my favorites because they're so soft. And I've had bamboo sheets before that were incredibly cozy. Um, I
Yes.
just learned.
I did a splurge like last year after my surgery. Like someone was like, give yourself something nice, when like gave me something.
Yeah.
And I opted for some bamboo sheets, and they were
Mm,
amazing.
they're so
And
nice.
Aldi kind of like makes its own stuff.
Mhm.
They have a lot of their clothing is made out of bamboo, and shoes. They have shoes that are made from bamboo
Oh,
clothing.
that's really cool. I hadn't seen that.
So I'll have to look into that. Maybe I'll add that to the
That'd
show
be-
notes.
Yeah.
But you do have to like, because like leather is like sort of like seems more like old-timey natural, like from the earth, but
Mhm.
um you do have to look at like the high cost of production. So like raising
Yeah.
livestock, and then the tanning chemicals are apparently one of like the most toxic,
That's what
like
I was just about to say. Yeah.
possible.
Yeah. Because you have to burn
Um,
the hair off and all. Yeah. It's, yeah, I know. I know.
right. But it's interesting because like we were just in New Mexico in a Wild West town of Cimarron, and I was in a Western shop, and I mean it just seems real like old timey, and oh yeah, like this
Mhm.
is back to the earth, da 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 da, da, but
Yeah.
like apparently not.
Yeah. I can see how that
Okay.
would be really easy to like greenwash a bit. It feels more
Mhm.
natural. Yeah.
Yeah, feels more natural. Yeah, but
Mhm.
it's um okay. That again, like going with garments that are more timeless than trendy, but according to
Mhm.
my sister, her style
Right.
is trendy.
Yeah.
She said, as she told me, she's had the same style her whole life. And when I stared blankly at her, she said, whatever's trendy, that's my style.
Yes.
Okay.
I've thought about that so many times since then. Just like that seems like so much pressure to like constantly be.
But like
Oh,
I mean, this has like been a bone of contention like for my whole life, is it
mhm.
pains her how uncool I am, and that I will not pay attention to these things.
Yeah.
Uh, she definitely feels like I am at a loss. Um, Locally sourced, produced, and sold garments. That's hard to come by, man.
Yeah. This,
Um,
I mean, accessories, maybe, if you could get
yeah.
like a nice wool scarf or hat, but a full-on
Mm,
outfit, that seems really difficult.
wool, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it may have some of the same. I mean, I'm sure it's like chemically treated for cleaning and whatnot.
Mm,
Just try to think of like what's really accessible for someone to make their own, you know?
yeah.
I went to an estate sale recently and a woman had a room with a giant loom in it. And I just thought, I
Ooh.
want this to be my life. I could make us garments.
Well, there is a gigantic loom at the Maker Lab at the library.
I know.
Uh,
I thought of you as soon as I saw it. I was like, oh, this is what Kat had her class on.
that we could go and make some shawls.
Some
Some
truly hideous clothing. Your sister will be so proud of
Well, um,
yeah.
a few specific styles per collection, which are released twice or maximum 3 times per year, or a permanent seasonless collection.
Oh.
Made to order to reduce unnecessary production. Well, that's very Miss Fisher. I'm rewatching Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries, and that is very Miss Fisher.
Ooh.
So like a custom made
Yes.
at a salon. But consumer prices are up a staggering 25% since 2020, and far fewer people can afford to sort of be green. So I always just like go back. I think you were totally right. Like at the thrift store looking for like more natural fabrics. I think you were onto it there.
Well, and two, the more like even synthetic blends with natural stuff, I find pills so much easier.
Mm.
And so it looks worn and doesn't look as like timeless really quickly. So even like a cotton poly blend, I have gotten to where I kind of try to, unless it's really cute, I'll try not to because I know I'm far too lazy to get my little shaver, my little pill shaver out and decomb or whatever the phrase is, the sweater or the t-shirt or whatnot.
So another suggestion that they have is the circular business model, which is like the rental stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I will say that apparently my niece, who is a freshman in college, does do a rental thing
That's
because
cool.
she does feel that pressure to always have a new outfit.
Yeah.
That is a way to do that. That I guess is, I mean, you're still like shipping.
Yeah. But it does cut out the volume issue. So that's a little win. I'll take that.
Yeah, apparently that is like it's a closed loop supply
Interesting.
is what they call it.
I remember when Rent the Runway first came out, but I'm not familiar with very many like casual everyday clothing rental places. But someone who was in my Bunko club was like participating in something really similar. And yeah,
Yeah.
she said she got to try things that like maybe were kind of out of her comfort zone, without too much pressure. And yeah, that she had almost stopped shopping altogether because she got that variety and that sense of fun and pleasure when something new came in, but she wasn't stuck with it.
Yeah, I was trying to remember. I have a few names here, but I can't. And none of them sounded like the one that my niece uses. I don't remember what that one was, but I think it's like $100 a month. Which to me is like I did not have $100 a month when I was in college, but
Yeah.
real different now.
Yes. Yes.
And if you're going to an SEC school, apparently this is just budget this into your college costs.
My word.
So they suggest, so there's like also like ThreadUp and Poshmark, which you've talked about,
Of course.
where you can get secondhand stuff. So Rent the Runway, Gwenny B is another similar one. Girl Meets Dress is another rental one. And then Dutch Firm Mud Jeans leases organic jeans, which can be kept, swapped, or returned.
Oh, cool.
And some of these businesses, websites, whatever you want to call it, provide services such as like recycling, reverse logistics, and final waste disposal.
Oh, that's really cool.
So that is, I guess, apparently helpful.
Yeah.
At least it does. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that, I mean, when you look at the figures that we saw about like the amount of textiles that just end up in a landfill or
Right.
worse, I mean, that like renting and returning, like really probably has a pretty big impact.
I would imagine so.
Keeping
And
those things, keeping
especially,
reproduction.
yeah. And especially if it helps curb your your voraciousness for like buying new things all the time, that cuts down on demand for new products, pretty significantly. And like you're saying, like the market tends to kind of follow consumer demand. So if there's less demand, hopefully that would trend over time and maybe have an impact.
And theoretically, if they are renting it out, those companies would be opting for materials that will be more durable,
Mm-hmm.
that aren't just going to be, have to be thrown away after the first person rents it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this might be your wheelhouse because I did not realize the whole washing situation.
Oh.
So they also suggest changing how you wash your clothes can make a difference. So shortening your washing cycle at a lower temperature or eco mode, because the longer the wash, the more time for microplastics to be released.
Oh.
Wash similar textiles together. Fibers can be released as tougher fabrics rub up against softer ones. So like, what would be like a tougher fabric would be like denim?
Yeah, I would say denim or like a canvas. Like I'm thinking of like a Carhartt jacket, that you might wear in the winter. Has that really firm texture to it. The cold water thing reminds me of one of our past eco chats where there was that whole revisionist history podcast episode about Tide and how so much of their R&D budget was spent trying to make a laundry detergent that is just as effective in cold as it is in hot. Because evidently there's like quite a big difference, which I don't know. I never really put that much thought into how I wash my clothes in terms of like, oh, I want it to be on hot water. I just sort of like, man, I think mine's been running on cold this whole time mostly because I'm too lazy to change it. But it was really interesting to hear like the science of how clothes are cleaned and Tide using a lot of wind power to for their factories. And again, like who knows at this point, what they may have changed before or after the pandemic, but in terms of like wind power and stuff and greenwashing, like we say, but finding a really good detergent that actually cleans your clothes in cold water is super duper helpful. And then I grew up, my mom was very fastidious. And so like if you wore something, you washed it the very next day. But I want to say it was like Good Housekeeping, like, or maybe Real Simple, like a reputable publication put out an article once about how you should wear something multiple times before you wash it. And I was really surprised by some of the numbers. Like they recommended, I can't remember the exact number, but like maybe 10 washes or 10 wears before you wash denim. Because it's better to not wash them especially if you have spandex in your jeans or whatnot. And that was something that was totally new to me just because of the way I was raised. A similar thing, like, not washing your your lie around clothes, if literally all you're doing is hanging out at home and, not sweating, wear them again the next day. That was so different from how I grew up just because of my mom's habits that it was really interesting to hear and read and sort of be like given explicit permission by a knowledgeable source of like, you do not have to be constantly doing laundry. It is okay. And now I feel like everyone has that, like a chair or a bench somewhere in their house or especially in their bedroom where like that's not quite dirty. I'm gonna like wear that again.
Have a bench, yes.
Yes. So just like embracing more of that, I think, has been helpful on my end. And it cuts down on chores because I don't have to do laundry as much. So it's
Mhm.
wonderful.
Yeah, I always wonder. I mean, obviously, when people have kids, like there's a lot more laundry
Oh
involved,
gosh. Yeah.
but I do always wonder people who like some people say like, "Oh, I do laundry every day." I'm
Yeah.
like,
No.
I don't even like I probably do laundry once a month,
Nice.
if that. Because I just do my own. The key to a healthy relationship is to do your own laundry. I have found. But yeah, that's a good, yeah, because John wants to wash his, I feel like he washes his jeans a lot.
Mhm.
But then he doesn't wash his shirts. Like he'll wear short shirts over and over again.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, I've also was like with the denim, I've heard like almost like someone has said like don't wash your jeans at all. You put them in the freezer. And
oh,
that kills whatever germs,
interesting.
whatever, but it preserves the integrity of the denim
Yeah,
or
well.
whatever. Um, yeah, so that's interesting that it's like to think about it in terms of like reducing washing, like because that's like
Mhm.
reducing the amount of runoff that you're going to be producing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. We need any excuse to do less laundry.
Heck yes, girl.
So they reduce friction between clothes by doing full washes rather than half full. Less space allows less friction. Use liquid detergent instead of powder.
Yep.
And ensure lint filters are thrown in the trash rather than down the sink. Lint filters.
I'm not sure what that could be.
Yeah, I don't either.
Surely they don't mean like the lint that you pull off the screen. Surely no one's putting that down the drain. I would hope not.
I would hope not. I don't know. Maybe does that mean like maybe that's what other countries call dryer sheets or something?
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I don't know. I after that eco chat we had, I'm always tempted whenever I see the
Laundry
little
sheets.
sheets that are
Yeah.
detergent or whatever. I'm always like, ooh.
I
But I
know.
remembered our conversation, like, no, just
No,
stick to my liquid detergent I get from Resupply.
that's right.
Okay, then they mentioned the Cora ball. So that
Oh,
is, explain what that is.
it's my understanding it was designed to sort of mimic the way that coral reefs like capture sediment and stuff in the oceans. And so it's this funny, spiky little ball that has flexible little tendrils coming off of it, and then each tendril has like little nubbins, much like a coral would. And so theoretically, it's a plastic ball that you throw in with your laundry. It lives in my washing machine. Otherwise, I would show it to you right now. um, and its tiny little nubbins and its little tentacle things are intended to help collect any microplastics that may be shedding in your washing machine. And when I was first looking at it, this is many years ago, I've had it, gosh, a really long time now. There were videos and photos of like particulates matter inside, like twisted around the nubbins, and like you could like pull tufts of um, congregated microplastics in and toss them in with your lint in the trash. Um, but I have never had that experience. Mostly, it just loves to eat my drawstrings, like in my shorts, or what else does it love? Yeah, any little hanging bit, it loves to eat that. So I'm not 100% sure how effective it is. I loved the idea of it, and I still just keep it in my washing machine because why not? And just sort of, I hope you're doing something. Goodbye.
Well, they also recommend something called the Lint Lover. That's a filter that attaches to the washing machine outflow. And then a guppy bag is a self-clean fabric bag made of a micro filter material that you wash your clothes in.
I have heard of the filter, like the attachment to your washer, but I never looked into a guppy bag. That's interesting. Almost like a lingerie bag, it sounds like. Like you would put your
Yeah,
clothes in it
maybe.
and then toss the whole thing in.
Yeah, maybe.
Huh.
Okay, and then just caring for your things instead of just tossing them. I mean, obviously mending is, or there was a couple of library programs on visible mending.
Yes. I went to one. It was so cute.
Oh, you ended up going?
I did, and I got to this is why I love the library so much. We practiced a couple different stitches and techniques, and then we also got to take a handful of things home, which was so nice. So we didn't have to go out and buy it, which being a crafty little magpie, of course I have little odds and ends for everything already. But for people who aren't hoarders like me, they let it everyone take some home. And it's so much easier than you would think. Like, I know some people say like, oh, I can't even sew on a button. Yes, you can. It's so easy. Like, don't mystify it. If you can sew on a button, and if you can learn how to do a ladder stitch, that stitch has saved so much of my clothing before, and it's so easy. Just get on YouTube, how to do a ladder stitch, and it's really cool because it's you're sewing from side to side just like rungs on a ladder, and then you can pull the thread at the end and it sort of like zoop, like zips up whatever two sides you have sewn together. And it's so it's a really subtle way of mending something. If you're thinking, oh, visible mending, like that's too much pressure, I don't want to make it cute, like there are lots of easy ways to mend something a lot less visibly.
Yeah, I have to say I'm actually not into the visible mending. I hate to
Yeah.
say it. I do like more something you wouldn't be able to
Yeah,
see.
more subtle. Yeah.
Ever since I was like in my early 20s, somehow I discovered the iron-on patches from like
Yes.
Walmart, and they look like they're something that you would use from the 1970s. And they come in like a little pack of different, like a denim color and a white color.
Yes.
So you can match it to your material. And I've used that my whole adult life to
Oh,
patch together. And it's amazing how much like it just like you cannot tell. You
yeah.
cannot tell that it's a rip or a tear or whatever. And it's super easy to use. You
Yeah.
just you just are using heat to like iron it on there.
Yeah, to fuse it together. I've used like interfacing material for like a t-shirt that had a little hole in it that I couldn't necessarily, I could try to sew it or like faux darn it. But I just got on YouTube and got nosy and said how to fix a hole in a t-shirt. And there was like an iron-on tutorial of how to just like kind of press it together. And it was so easy. And I got to save one of my very favorite shirts that I would have been devastated if I hadn't been able to wear it again. So I think some people are intimidated by it, but it's so much easier than people think. And two, it's like, I don't know, it kind of reminds me of when I do jigsaw puzzles, like it's sort of slow and very mindful. And so it's like a little mindfulness treat too. I don't know. I get to feel like I'm, darning my winter socks in the 1800s and everything's simpler and I don't have to go to work tomorrow. I just get to lay around with my animals and bake some bread or something.
Yeah, I tend to have like kind of build up a little pile of stuff that needs mending, and then like every 6 months or something, like it's an excuse to like put on a movie or something.
Yeah.
And, like, boop, 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 boop. And then I have this pile of fixed stuff at the end that's back in rotation.
And I mean, every time you put that sucker on, whatever it is, if it's a jacket, a top, a pair of shorts, you look at it and it's like, I fixed that. I did that. You can't even, can't even see. Like you like admire your work every time, or at least I do.
On this last trip, I was wearing these shorts that were out of commission for a couple of years because the hook had come undone or whatever.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then I looked down, I was like, oh yeah, I put a new button on this. And I was so proud, like, oh yeah, I
Yeah.
can wear these shorts again.
You go, girl.
Okay, so also getting a measuring tape like can help with the sizing issue.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Um,
That's been
utilizing
especially
sewing
helpful for
machines like
me. Oh,
what's that?
sorry. I was just gonna say that's been especially helpful for me on Poshmark. I I I can't remember the last time I bought something like a piece of clothing online. It's been years if it wasn't through Poshmark because I love being able to ask the sellers, "Hey, what's the width of this top from armpit to armpit?" Because then regardless of the number or the letter size, like I will know if it will fit me or not. Whereas like I can't ask Mr. Crew at J Crew to, "Hey, can you measure this for me real quick?" So I do love almost like the customized garment that you were talking about in a way of like,
Yeah,
is this
a
really going to fit me or not?
little bit like Miss Fisher.
Yeah, exactly. And for
Um,
anyone who doesn't know how to do that, you just grab a garment that fits you really well, lay it flat, and then measure across, whether it's the armpit to armpit or if it's a pair of jeans, like from side to side. And it's an awesome fit every time. I love it.
utilizing sewing machines at libraries, like in Maker Labs, is another tool I've used. Recycling textiles, which you're really good at. However, recycling bins at stores, from what I've read, are sort of like guilt-free placebos that encourage more consumption because
Mm.
only 1%, less than 1% of that clothing actually is used to make new garments.
I don't
Um,
even know if I've seen like at maybe it was Nike or somewhere where you could throw your old sneakers in a bin and they would like grind it up and it the plastic bits up and it was used for like playground filler material.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think they do. When it's like something like that, I think that
Very
is,
specialty, yeah.
yes, I have seen like playgrounds and stuff or basketball courts that are made out of that.
But I've never seen like clothing. Are there places around here that do? Do
You
you
know,
know?
I've wondered about that because also like Aldi, for example, has some stuff that supposedly is made from recycled
Yeah.
materials, but then I do wonder like, so where is that coming from? Like,
Yeah.
and what percentages, you know?
Right.
So you can take recycling of your clothes into your own hands, which you're really good at, making like pet toys, cleaning
Yeah.
rags, tote bags, um, you can cut up t-shirts into like yarn to knit or
Mhm.
crochet. You can make quilts, headbands, scrunchies. Um,
I want to be this person, or maybe not this, maybe I don't want to be her, but maybe I want to be best friends with her. Poppy Lou is the name of her social media account, and you would love her. She she goes around to thrift stores and finds like old blankets or old beautiful hand embroidered tablecloths that would just go to the landfill otherwise, and she will make dresses and tops out of them, and she shows you like which sections of the material that she's cutting out, and she's very thoughtful about like how she places the material and arranges it. She models it afterwards. You can purchase the garments afterward, I believe, but she even uses like um, she's a girl after her own heart because she has to have gone to like estate sales or thrift stores because she has like a little plastic bin of zippers and buttons from like the 70s and 80s. Like she like shows you yeah.
yeah.
And she always points out like this is thrifted, this is vintage. And sometimes she'll throw in like unfun facts about garment waste and things like that. So she's really that's my aspirational goal for reusing clothing. But there are lots of much easier ways to do it that maybe one day I'll be able to do that.
Yeah,
But
I think when I was in my 20s, I thought I was going to be that woman.
yeah.
So I have an incredible collection of like vintage zippers and
Yes.
A's and all kinds of stuff. And buttons, my button collection is just off the chart. But as now I'm a different woman and I never became her really. I do a little bit. I did, you know what? I did when my mom was dying, not to really just take a
record scratch.
When my mom was dying, they get real fidgety like towards the end, and like they want to like do something with their hands. And so I made her our caregiver said that they make these like mats, like fidget mats.
Yes, I remember you making this. Yeah.
And I got out the most because like it needs to be like sensory stuff, right? Like it needs to be like something that's gonna like different things to like grab onto or zip or pull or whatever. And I was able to use so much of my random crap.
Yay!
To put into this mat that like just laid on her lap and she could just like, you know, pull on some palms or some zippers or some like edging or whatever, like lace edging or something like that, or ribbon. But for the most part, I just mostly make rags out of old clothes that can't be like are too ragged to donate or whatever. And then if it's a special item that has significance or a pattern that I really love, I will cut out like the usable section to use for fabric scraps for like other like sewing projects, like a quilt. Or
I know
something
you're
else
much
that I
better
make.
at using like the library sewing resources than I am. I need to get on your level.
Well, because I don't have any, I have 2 sewing machines myself, but you have to have space.
Yeah.
Like you have to have an area to like set it up and then to like iron all your fabric and like you need a lot of space and I don't have that. So I have found it's much easier, like, because at the library, they've got it maintained.
Yes.
They even have like bobbins that are already like wound, like it's all ready to go. And then I can just leave. Like, what was the last thing that I made? Oh, I made this. I made this cover for this chair because it's all.
Oh yes, John's.
This chair's just disgusting because all the whatever pleather has rubbed off or whatever. So I made this little. This is a estate sale fabric.
I love it.
And this is before I discovered that stretchy fabrics are very hard to sew. And they'll really mess up your sewing machine and your tension and all that kind of stuff. So I just took this baby down to the library and just messed up their machine. And then I just left and the like monkey with the tension and needle or whatever needed to be done. And I was just
let the experts do that. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else that you that we didn't talk about?
Trying to think. I mean, kind of like I feel like we mention it every time, but it's always worth mentioning is your local free cycle groups or your buy nothing groups, because even if you think, oh, no one. I was at the thrift store the other day and I overheard someone say, like, why would someone donate this? Like, no one wants this. And in my head, I was like, I can think of 4 crafts that I could use that for, and it's only 99 cents. Like, there's always someone more clever and more creative than you who can figure out something really neat to do with something that you're not using anymore. So I love seeing what people come up with if I offer something up in my local buy nothing. Like, people are amazing. It's really, really neat. So I think that's always worth repeating, that like, even if you don't really know how to fix it or what to do with it, like, see if someone else does. You never know.
And if I'm looking for something specific, like free cycle and thrifting is really like, you got to just like, you're letting go and becoming one with the universe about what's going to affect your life or not.
Right. The thrift will provide. Yeah.
Yes. or as you know, I manifest things.
You are so good at that. I love it.
But not everybody has that gift. So
Mm.
I do as a secondary thing, if I need something specific and like sooner than the universe may provide naturally, I do use Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, for sure.
Because like, yeah, it's meta, which maybe is whatever, but I am getting it locally from somebody in my community
Yeah.
who can no longer use it.
Mm-hmm.
I can go and pick up. I just picked up a footstool from a woman on Marketplace
Oh, yay.
and had a nice interaction with, like, it's, I do think that's worthwhile. And yeah, just sort of like thinking through, like, I do remember that there's a scene in Girls. Did you ever watch Girls?
Not cool enough.
There's like a more like highfalutin girl, and she has kind of like a life change and decides to like get rid of all her like business casual stuff or whatever, and she's just like throwing all of it down into the garbage chute. And one of the other girls is like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you throwing that away? Like, why don't you donate it?" And she's just like, "No one's gonna want, like, who would want my old clothes?"
Yeah.
Even though they were like perfectly
Mm-hmm.
like in good condition, or like, I don't know. It's just,
Right.
I do think there's a mindset issue there.
For sure. Even the bag of like the dregs of your sister's last clean out that you gave to me, since our Buy Nothing is so much bigger, like I pulled out the I posted everything on offer on our Buy Nothing, and lots of people were excited for some of the like cute trendy tops, but no one raised their hand for the like school emblem sweatshirts, that are like hyper specific. But I have a blessing box right down the street, and even though there's normally, canned goods and foodstuffs in there, like if you need food, you might need some warm clothes during winter. And so I would put like one or two in there every week until I ran out of them, and they were always gone. So I love
that.
Yeah. So even though you just, again, like being creative and seeing like what other people might be able to do with it is always really neat.
Agreed. Okay, well, thank you so much. This was really great, and I learned a ton. So hopefully other people did too. And just kind of thinking about, again, just like just thinking a little bit about some of the when we're making decisions where we are making as consumers, we're making a difference with what we're choosing to consume, basically.
Yeah. And trying to frame that as empowering instead of like restrictive. I feel like that helps a whole lot. I know my mom, who's a big clothes horse, like is sometimes like, you never want to go shopping. You never want to buy anything new. And I'm like, yeah, isn't that cool? Like, I don't feel that need. And that's so liberating. Like, I love that for myself. So yeah, kind of trying to reframe it for yourself and just being that little bit more mindful about like, okay, do I really need to buy 3 t-shirts in this color? Or
yeah, I don't know. Is that a thing that other people, because like I find myself wanting to buy the same 2 things over and over and over again at thrift stores. Like
your denim button up.
My chambray button up that I just
love it so much.
I already have 5. I can't. No. This one, you know what? This one is a little different because it has a different type of collar.
Oh yeah, it's got the little Mandarin tab collar or whatever you call it. Yeah, totally different.
Yeah. So this one made it through. But of course was thrifted. I mean, I can't even tell you where I got it. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, friend. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. It was good to see you. Bye.